Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today for the discussion on demystifying MOOCs for visually challenged. I'm Sonal Patel from Cambridge, Massachusetts in USA, and I've worked in the field of STEM education for over 30 years in variety of capacity, and I'm a lifelong learner engaged with learning on MOOCs since 2012. Since 2016, I am also involved with mentoring visually impaired and blind students from Vision Aid, an NGO from Boston, Massachusetts in USA. Today, here in the panel, we have three amazing individuals from Vision Aid who have personal experience learning on various MOOC platforms. Each of them will help to mystify MOOCs by sharing their personal journey as a learner on various MOOC platforms. Let me open the discussion with them by giving you a quick introduction to MOOCs. So what are MOOCs? MOOCs are online courses for everyone and everywhere. Now, everyone meaning rich or poor, young or old, student or professional, employed or unemployed, abled or disabled, anyone from around the world who has access to internet can take these online courses. You can take the full-fledged class from the comfort of your home, from your office, from school, from train or car or bus or plane, from anywhere you have access to internet. Okay. Now these courses are offered on special accessible online platforms called MOOC platforms. Many major MOOC platforms have been created as the movement towards democratizing education through the use of technology. Some of the major MOOC platforms are edX, Coursera, Udemy, Udacity, and many more from USA, Swayam from India, Future Learn from UK, and many other countries have started their own MOOC platforms. Okay, now online courses hosted on these MOOC platforms are in variety of subjects from world's top universities and organizations, and these are taught by the experts in the field. Many are often translated in variety of languages too. To enroll in these courses, first you have to register for the MOOC platform that hosts the course that you are interested in joining. Now, most of these courses are available to anyone to audit for free on various platforms, and many courses also issue certificate for completing the course with passing grade for free or for nominal fees. Those who cannot afford the fees, many MOOC providers also have provision for full or partial financial aid, for which you need to apply. Now, many platforms also offer collection of courses as a specialization, or even the courses for undergraduate or graduate degrees, and some offer micro or nano degrees. So there are variety of credentials available on various MOOC platforms. Our panelists here will demystify what they have been learning on various accessible MOOC platforms. So let's get started with the discussion with them. In order for our listeners to connect with them, let me get their introduction first in their own voice, so you know who they are and when you hear from them later. So our first learner is Aditi, who will introduce herself. And let me just add that, could you also indicate in your introduction uh, um, what type of assistive technology you use to access MOOCs on your computers and mobile devices? So Aditi.
Hi everyone, this is Aditi Shah. I'm from Mumbai, and I use JAWS to access MOOCs on my computer. On my phone, on my Android device, I use TalkBack, and on my Apple device, I use VoiceOver.
Very nice. Thank you, Aditi. And let me just add a line about Aditi, that Aditi has been recently featured as a model student from India by the MOOC provider edX in their impact report. And Aditi's blog stories have been published on EDX as well as Coursera, both platforms, and we will share the links to those along with this. So Bhargav, go ahead.
Hi everyone, this is Bhargav. I am from Bangalore, currently working as a software engineer, and also I work as a mentor with VisionAid in Python and digital accessibility training program. And to access MOOC, uh, mostly I use JAWS and NVDA for on my desktop, and on Android mobile I use TalkBack.
Okay, Bhargav, thank you. And Bhargav was the very first student from VisionAid who took the first MIT class, the MIT class on Python programming on the EDX platform. And his story is also published on the EDX blog that we will share the link uh, along with this file. And let's go to Sagar now.
Uh, Hello everyone. This is Sagar from this side. I'm from Gujarat, and mostly I use JAWS and NVDA in my desktop to access MOOCs and platforms, and I also use Android. Uh, in my Android phone, I use TalkBack as a assistive technologies. Yeah, so this is from this side.
Okay, thank you very much, Sagar. And we need to see your story also on one of the blog soon, maybe after the demystification, you know. And okay, so let's start now the demystification conversation with you guys. Now let's start with Aditi. And so Aditi, can you share what's your experience with MOOCs?
I've taken quite a few courses on MOOCs, mostly technical, um, some non-technical as well. So I started my MOOCs journey around towards the end of 2017, when I took one of the first MIT classes on edX, and I was really surprised to see how accessible learning online could be by doing that course, and that got me really started into taking more and more courses. So after that I took another MIT course on computational thinking and data science. I also took a couple of Python programming courses on Coursera. Because I am a cybersecurity professional, I've taken quite a few cybersecurity courses on Coursera. Like, well, to mention a few, like one which I took from Google was Defense Against the Digital Dark Arts. Another one I took from Palo Alto Networks, which was Introduction to Cybersecurity Foundations. So these kind of courses really helped me. So I have recently been to the US to do my MS in cybersecurity. So I think because I was like already learning on MOOCs, my transition from being a professional to going back to school was much smoother. Um, and I always find the right MOOC at the right time. So I remember, like, for applying to schools in the US, I had to take an exam called TOEFL, which is like an English proficiency exam. And I actually found a course on edX, which was, you know, helping students to prepare for TOEFL exam, and I just had to take that course, and I did pretty well on the exam. Similarly, like oftentimes at work, whenever I'm stuck with something, all I have to do is like just go and hunt down the right MOOC, and just apply what I learn on the spot. So for me, it's almost like learn and apply kind of a situation with MOOCs.
Thank you, Aditi. Very nice. And Bhargav, continue.
Yeah, sure. So I have been introduced MOOCs and in 2016, and very first course which I joined on edX, which was from MIT, and it was like a totally new experience for me. Like I have never done any courses like online. I was always used to go to some offline classes and try to find out and learn something. But I think that the MOOC platform the gave me opportunity to learn not only like any programming, but it's any kind of learning that you want. You can just search, and probably you can find a new related course and start learning it whenever you have time, or uh, without going to any classes and things like that. So as I mentioned, like I took my first class in 2017, and after that I have ex- like enroll on Coursera as well. So which was again like new experience, and since after doing my first course, I was the mentor. I was become a mentor in VisionEd. Uh, so that's where I had to find out for students as well, like uh, how many MOOCs are accessible, or if anyone is interested to learn uh, you know many technologies and things like that. So just I enrolled on Coursera, and we found few classes like which is accessible. uh, Accessible meaning like mostly platform is supporting with the screen reader, and yeah, so that's where I have experience like edX and Coursera.
Okay, thank you, Bhargav. So let's proceed to Sagar. Sagar, please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. My friends already talk about a lot about MOOCs. So if I talk about my journey, then I started to exploring MOOCs in 2017, in the end of 2017. And I remember I found about MOOCs from the Facebook group, which is also uh, governed by the Bhargav and Sonal ma'am over here. So one day I saw a post from the Bhargav, I think, and he posted something about edX. So I immediately asked him about that, and he explained me basically about what is it and how it is work. So that was the first time when I was introduced to MOOCs, and then I signed up for edX and start exploring the whole platform. And the first course I have done, that was uh, basically a communication course, and I was remember I was really excited because that was my first experience. And so someone asked me what you are doing over here. Means I was taking up some videos, looking at some videos, and doing that course, and someone asked me what you are doing, and I told him that I am doing some communication classes from international university. And for a moment that person turned that what you are doing. So this is something that is new to me. Afterwards, I have taken a lot of courses on edX, on Coursera, on Udacity, and I think MOOCs is really helpful because it gives you the privilege that you cannot just enhance in your study or career. Even you can find the courses for your hobbies actually. Even if you are looking for something that might uh, maybe you don't get time to go to some classes, or maybe there is a possibility that you don't have facilities in your city, or maybe your financial condition is not up for that, but you will find a MOOC for that on platforms like edX, Coursera, or Udacity, or Udemy. And even these courses are really accessible with assistive technologies, and even if they are not, um, uh, you can always contact somebody that can provide help with these MOOCs. uh, so yeah, these MOOCs, I think it will really help people to do some kind of progress in their life. Thank you.
Very good, Sagar. So you guys have demystified, but I have been writing questions for you so that we can demystify it further. And before I open this with 4 questions among us, I am going to quote Aditi. Aditi's quote on the 2020 impact report from edX. Aditi, did you get chance to read that?
Yeah.
So I want to say this quote.
Mm-hmm.
It is about her quote about the MIT class, and I'm pretty sure she has the similar type of impression about the Coursera classes that she has taken. So let me read Aditi's MIT quote about her class in her own words. So Aditi said, this was the first completely accessible course I had ever taken online and perfectly coincided with my learning goals. I have never been able to study with math without sighted assistance in the past, but on EDX, even these math-heavy course was readable to my screen reader, and I finished without any significant glitches. See, I had little bit trouble reading this text on a small fonts, so I am also trying to get used to reading things on my Mac using my screen reader, but I'm not very good, but I am getting good because I have mentors like you. So definitely this was a very nice, so let me start. I may ask question to each one of you. And let me first ask you, do you have question for each other, guys?
Yeah, I do have question for Aditi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Aditi, I think uh, you have been doing some beta testing on Coursera, so maybe you can share your experience on beta testing, so it would help our listeners.
Yes. So, so there is two things when it comes to MOOCs. There's the platform and then there's the content. So the platform is Coursera, edX, Udacity, Udemy. All these are platforms. These platforms are very accessible. But then that is not true always for the content that comes on these platforms. So I got an opportunity to volunteer with one of the platforms, that is Coursera, as a beta tester. So what I get to do is before any course goes online for everyone to take. Like 1 week prior to that, I get access to the course and I can check it out and give my feedback. So I, being a screen reader user, I am able to give feedback as to whether the course is actually accessible to someone who is blind or someone who's reliant on screen readers. And what, in my experience, what I have observed is most of the time, um, my feedback is considered seriously, and the course providers always try and improve their content and make sure that they can do whatever they can to make it accessible for everyone.
So, any question before I start asking? To to both of you, Bhargav and Aditi, I know that similar type of feedback you provided to the MIT class, and they made the appropriate changes as a content provider. So you have received very good help in that section. And so any other comment, Bhargav? You have, since your profession is accessibility testing, so you are far stricter. Probably if you are doing beta testing, probably you would really
Yeah.
make them the job very hard to, but you will give good feedback once again, just like Aditi did. And so any other things you want to share?
Yeah, so let me start with like what happened when I was doing in MIT course. And so like there was one question, some objective, or I don't remember exactly, but the question was something like 3 plus 5, and I had to answer. And but since like there was some question number 1, 2, 3, 4, and the question number and actual question, it was like screen reader was reading together. And it was like the first question, so always screen reader was reading like 13 plus 5, but actual question was 3 plus 5. So I think that was the uh, you know issue when I was doing course I had found. And I think uh, mighty fox helped me and to fix that. And yeah, so such if we are finding such accessibility issue, may always like learner, any of the learner can reach out to the MOOC provider, and they should be able to help you. So there's nothing like we can't really do any courses on Coursera, and Coursera, either edX or any kind of MOOC platform. And one more like the challenge which I experience always with the video lectures. So sometimes what happens is like any professor you know who is explaining the particular topic, so uh, they just mouse over and point out certain screen or some windows, or so which is kind of not very clear. Like professor will say click here. So for as a like visually impaired learner, it's going to be a little difficult situation in that thing. So I think still I mean content provider may need to make sure when they are recording any course, any kind of uh, making any video, so maybe they just can point out like along with that particular name, click on XYZ link or click on XYZ button. So that will be uh, really helpful for screen reader and assistive technology or visually impaired user.
Hey guys, Sagar, you have any question? Okay, so maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, uh, Actually, I want to ask Bhargav. Bhargav, you said that you are mentoring students on Vision Aid, and you also help them to find courses on MOOCs. So can you explain a little bit about that or talk about that?
Yeah, so far most of the students are taking the course on Python. So which is like Python for everybody, that is the specialization offered by University of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, material also quite accessible. They do provide text content like PDF format and HTML format as well. So if someone is not really comfortable with video, so they can go ahead and read the text material with their screen reader.
I would I would also come in here,
Hmm.
and I want to highlight that. So we're only talking about, since all three of us are visually impaired, we're talking about accessibility from the perspective of a visually impaired user. But like, Bhargav mentioned that there are transcripts. So that is also useful for someone who's hearing impaired and who cannot listen to the video. So when we're saying like these platforms are accessible, it's not just for people who are blind, but it is pretty accessible. I mean, at least they've kept accessibility in mind for all kinds of disabilities.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Very nice. In fact, even we are all distance, but you read my mind. Now, some of the questions that I wanted to ask you, you have covered. So, for the listeners, I would say that if you are taking a MOOC class and you are using any assistive technology and it's not accessible, most MOOC platforms, as well as the have their a special email address to reach out to the accessibility folks. And so do write to them if something is not accessible. The MOOC provider, those are the MOOC platform people, they can also reach out to their partners to convey to them if the content is not accessible so that they can fix it. Okay, but before that, we all have to really start taking it so that the world know that there are people who are using assistive technology and we need this help, which is still not complete. But I would say that they are listening. In fact, Aditi has joined with me to talk to Coursera, and they had lot of questions about how to improve their accessibility. The same way Harvard and MIT have helped our students a lot. And let me just tell you very quickly, very recently, few of our students took Harvard's one of the very popular class, CS50, which is on the EDX platform. And the lectures were open on, live lectures were open for online viewers too. So our students actually viewed those lectures, and there was one assignment that was not accessible to um, screen reader users, and they made a special provision for them to skip that assignment. So such type of things, providers are also listening to make sure that all the material courses and everyone has same opportunity to complete a class and go away with improving their learning, which they can apply in their profession. So one interesting two questions now for Aditi and Sagar, because we have been only talking about more programming class, but Aditi has also taken and tried this class on Coursera called Demystifying Mindfulness. And Aditi, any word about that experience?
Yeah, I think it was great because I think by doing that, what I realized is like, you know, it, we can even use these platforms to grow the breadth of our learning, not just the depth. Um, and these things are so much important, like mindfulness or yoga or maybe cooking, and there are classes on all these topics available on these platforms. And like, I'm a techie, but then just being a techie doesn't suffice to lead a happy life. So there's like a bunch of other skills that I would need to develop, and these courses not just help me do that, but they also give me a community that I can connect with. I can share my learning experiences with, like, say I'm learning about mindfulness. So, uh, as I go through the exercises in that class, I have certain experiences, and what the platform does is it lets me connect with my fellow learners or mentors who have already taken the class. And that's how, whenever I'm stuck, I can take help. So it's almost like I'm getting all the benefits that I would have got by actually going somewhere and taking the course in person. I get all those benefits just sitting at home, and on top of that, I get to connect with so many more people from very diverse backgrounds, from all parts of the world. So yeah, it's kind of a great experience.
Oh, very, very nice. Aditi, invisibly, you are reading my questions. And so I can summarize what Aditi is saying here is that on MOOCs, you can collaborate with others in different countries, or even discuss your doubts with others, global learners, on the course discussion boards or social media platforms. Every MOOC has variety of social media connections, platforms that they connect students with. And even many of the discussion board and social media, even the course staff monitors, and sometimes there are community mentors who also monitor that those discussion forums. And yeah, so you guys, Bhargav, Sagar, have you participated in discussion on the MOOC platforms?
I would say I didn't take part in discussions, but of course, whenever I ask my doubt, or whenever I was facing problem with any assignment, then yes, whenever I posted a question over there, I every time I got the reply either from the community mentor or from the fellow students as a reply. And of course, there over there we had a discussions over problems, or whatever problem I had with assignment, or any other question that I have related to that particular courses. And I must say, they provide a really they provide really good amount of help with discussion board, because I honestly always get reply pretty soon on my most of the question. uh, so yeah, I really enjoy that discussion board actually.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
like when uh, I have little bit of experience on discussion board as well. Like when I was doing my very first course, so that time, like I was not very clear of with certain instruction or the assignment which is given for that particular week. So I used to go to that discussion board and see like what is discussion going on, and a couple of time I had found like what I have doubt, the similar doubt others student or a learner also has, and I used to go through their discussion and try to understand, and then I have completed my assignment. So that way it helped me to work on my assignment. So not giving or sharing by actual code, but some more explanation and discussion on that particular uh, the problem set or uh, the particular assignment.
Now many courses are improving their discussion board, so you will see continuous improvement.
Yeah.
So any other question? You have any question for me? Or we can go to our
Mm,
final question.
I think I have one question. So, in
Uh-huh.
introduction, you mentioned like MOOCs are for everyone. So, I am sure like our listeners are, interested to know what is your experience with MOOC. I think you are most
Okay.
senior in this panel.
Okay. MOOCs are for older and younger, and I would
Yeah.
say that it's because of MOOC that I'm getting younger. You know. So I started my first MOOC exactly 8 years ago today. Today on 5th March 2012. That was from MIT. About 155,000 students registered for that class. So that's the M for the massive in MOOC. And about 7,000 of those actually completed the class successfully by passing all the exams and everything. And the name of that class was Circuits and Electronics. And my son had taken that same class at MIT, and I took it online. So yes, so today is the celebration of that love, and that's was a transformative experience for me that hooked me on to MOOCs forever. And I'm also volunteering with Coursera beta testing variety of classes, and I developed many new interests by taking classes in variety of subjects. And I will also share my blog story along with other blog stories of you learners with this recording. Okay, so shall we go to our concluding comments?
Yes.
Yeah, so any final word you like to share with our listeners? Let's start with Aditi.
I think I would just say that make the most out of it. You are getting the opportunity to learn from experts from industry, from academia, not just from your own country, but from all around the world. And you can just learn whatever you want and just explore. So just make most out of that opportunity. And it's really interactive learning, though it is remote, but it can be a very interactive experience. So just push yourself and just today after you listen this recording, um, just get on your computer and sign up to edX, to Coursera, and just just start your first course. And trust me, like that would be the first step, and many steps will follow after that.
Very good. Okay, Bhargav.
Mm, yeah, I think the hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. So, I would say like if you are, if you once start any course and you don't just take it as a like just I want to do this course and just I'm sick of doing, but once you take it as a passion, so I think you will never stop taking not only just once, but I am sure like you will take many more courses and find out like whatever your interests, and you will find the suitable courses for that.
Okay, Sagar.
Yeah.
Uh, s- my fellow panelist, I think, explained everything. But one thing that I want to add is that, uh, as they say, sign up today, and there is no need that you need to do for your study or work or for hobby. I think
Mhm.
just start exploring. You might find a new hobby. In a form of a course on these MOOC platforms. So just start exploring, and I think with courses, explore your new interest and enjoy the courses.
Very good. And just when you guys began your first MOOCs in 2017, I had completed 5 years and I had shared my story on the first MOOC. So maybe can I just say my concluding remark as my quote from my story there,
Definitely.
and we will end there. That was my philosophy about MOOC that transformed my life. And this is not about just me. So let me just read from my own story. Is my philosophy as a lifelong learner on, I say EDX because that story was on EDX, is the most important thing is not how well you do in the course or how many certificates and degrees you earn, but how you apply what you learn to connect with the world, improve yourself, inspire others to learn, and help others in every way possible. We all have something interesting to teach others. On EDX, we get this wonderful opportunity to learn and share as a global community. Do not waste time. Get started learning and connect with the world. Together, we can make this world a better place for everyone through learning. So wherever I said EDX, you can replace this with other MOOCs too, Coursera, and which is my other favorite MOOC platform. But this is the thing I would say right now in USA and in the world, everybody is concerned and very scared about this coronavirus. And I would say we are here to spread the virus called love of learning, and hope you all did your best to spread it, and hope we can keep spreading that to everyone and everywhere. And you all, thank you so much, and stay infected, you know, with this virus, you know, and forever, and keep spreading. You have to stay infected. Only way you can spread is if you are infected. Okay, so stay infected because it's a good virus. Okay,
Right.
so all of you, thank you so much, and let's end this recording here. Okay, we will see. Okay, thank you very much.